I'm building my personal finance community in public. So how these videos are going to go, some of the YouTube comments on YouTube here. So everything to help you benefit for your personal finances, save more money, pay off debt, build up your mindset, etc. Then we go into talking about the community itself, seeing what's going on, daily updates or whatever. And my community is called Dollar Discipline University. We're going to talk about that in a second. And finally, and probably the reason why you maybe clicked on this video, some thoughts on my mind to help you reach your financial goals. So today we're going to be talking about 3 steps to help you find more money in your finances. Okay. So we're going to be going through that a little later on. But first, we have to go into sorry about that. Here's the back end of my YouTube, the community tab, which has no comments on it. Womp womp. So why I'm doing this, guys, is one, I just want to give you like incredible value right away. And I also want to see, I want you to see that when you ask me something, I'm going to do it live. So it's kind of like a win-win for everyone. You get a question answered. We're making content out of it, and you guys are getting value. So it's like it's a win. It's a win for everyone. Okay, so get your comments in and everything like that. Let's talk about Dollar Discipline University first. So the link is down in the description of this video. Basically, my whole goal here of this community is to just, I don't know, help people. Yeah, like I said earlier, save more money, pay off debt. But really, it's more of a having people talk about money, and not necessarily like the specifics, like, oh, I make this salary and I have this much in my savings account. Like, it's more just like the mindset stuff and knowing that other people are on the same journey as you. And I think that can be really powerful, because a lot of times, and let me know if you think you agree with this, a lot of times the idea of money and personal finances can feel pretty lonely, right? It's just like you kind of feel like you're off on an island, especially when you're struggling. And I understand that too, because 10 years ago or so, I was in that same boat where I was like, I had no direction, no financial goals, nothing like that. And I went to school for accounting. I mean, if you can believe that. So if someone that saw himself as a person that was like, hey, I'm good with numbers and budgeting and finances in the job world, but in my real life, I wasn't doing any of those things, then if you feel like that, I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't feel as bad about it. And I would consider joining Dollar Discipline University, because there's 192 people in here that are on the same journey. Okay. So really, really pretty cool. Yeah, we can dive into it a little later on. Anyone that joins, by the way, I do a free strategy call. It's a free 30-minute call. So hop in there. And today, so what we're going to talk about is how to find more money in your finances. This is probably one of my more popular, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, like presentations, talks, whatever, inside the community. Especially if you've never really budgeted before, or you're not consistent with it. I have a nice framework here, and I just kind of not made up, but after doing some more thinking, I was like, it actually comes down to 3 steps. And I like, alliterations where it's like, so I might call this like the AAA. I don't know. I have to think about it, but I like where it's like the same letter, or it spells something, right? So there's 3 steps to finding more money in your personal finances. We have action, alignment, and accelerate. Okay. So first, what we want to do is we want to take action. And I'm going to give you definitely some specifics on what that means. But first, this is a budget template, and all of the free tools that I'm going to talk about in this live stream are in Dollar Discipline University. Most of my stuff is getting transferred to a much better way for you guys. It's a software tool called Wealthway right now. So the reason why I'm showing you the spreadsheet first is the first process I'm going to talk about is not quite in Wealthway yet. It was a little more challenging to try and figure out how to incorporate that without you guys losing, the experience in Wealthway. But basically, yeah, Wealthway is a budget and debt tracking tool. It's a website, right? It's a software, and you can go in, you can update everything from your debts to your budgets on a monthly basis, right? You can click around here, and it's just changing month over month over month. We can look at certain dashboard reports. Okay, there's got like quick little hitting wins or quick little visuals for our finances, and then like some longer term reporting trends, just stuff like that, and then a list of transactions that has filterability, kind of like an Excel spreadsheet or something like that, Google Sheets. So yeah, I'm actually doing some beta testing right now with users inside the community. This is only for people inside the community right now. So if you're interested, hop on in and let me know you're interested, and I'll put you on the wait list for September, for the next month. But back to this. So the first process is called, when we take action, it's called a 3-month look back. And as the name suggests, what we want to do here is we want to look back 3 months of our expenses. Again, this is mostly for people that are currently not budgeting or are inconsistent with it, and I know you guys are out there, the ones that say you're budgeting, but really that just means like you just kind of pay your bills on time, but it's not budgeting, right? We all know that. Um, yeah. So this budget template here is just kind of a visual for you to show you what to do and how to do it. So what we want to do, and I actually need to update these months, so I'm going to do that right now. July, June, May. So what we want to do is, so I'm doing this live stream in August. So we want to look back 3 months of our expenses. So May, June, July. And I really want you to focus on your variable expense categories. So think things like groceries, gas, utilities, things that you spend every single month or very frequently, and it fluctuates, right? They're variable. We know we need them, but it fluctuates. You can certainly add your fixed expenses on here if you want to just kind of see everything in totality. But like, how much your rent or mortgage is, right? You know how much your, I don't know, Netflix subscription is, right? You like, those don't really change month over month. But the quick win in terms of doing this is like, the most valuable thing is, and we're going to kind of get into it, but it's like, how do we take our, I don't want to say historical spending data because it's only 3 months, but like our previous spending data, and turn it into something that is actually like, we're almost like weaponizing it positively for our future budgeting and for our cash flow. And cash flow is so important when it comes to personal finances, really anything, right? Businesses, personal finances, right? So I kind of just filled out some numbers here, so we didn't have to waste time me filling everything out. But what we want to do is, look back any way that you spend money. So think things like your credit card, your debit card, anything. Cash is a little harder to track with this process, because imagine trying to remember what you paid cash for 3 months ago. So just do the best that you can. It might not be perfect right away, and that's okay. But it's more that we do this thing. It's more that we take action. That's like priority number 1. I almost don't care what the action is. I prefer it to be the 3-month look back. But if you just want to do a 1-month look back, just start somewhere. The feedback of this process before the person does it, is it seems overwhelming, because you're like, wow, I have to go back 3 months. And you're just thinking in your head, like, my finances are a mess. Like, this is going to be a disaster, right? But then after the process is over, what I'm finding and hearing from a lot of people is like, okay, yes, that took me a little bit of time. Like, it could take anywhere, depending on how many accounts you have, how organized you are. It could take anywhere from an hour to, like, quite honestly, 3 hours to do. So maybe what you do is you chunk each month into a certain like block of time. If you did one a day, like, you might be surprised though, it might only take you like a half an hour or 20 minutes. But anyway, after, the people that I've worked with are done with this, it's like, yeah, you know what? It was a little tedious, but at the end of the day, like, it just shined this light onto what I was doing with my money. And like, now I know where it's going. And that's the most powerful thing. Like, once we see where it's going, I know that that's the hardest part. It's like, oh, I don't want to see where it's going. But if we want to make a change, we have to, if we want a different outcome or an output, we have to change the inputs by either doing more inputs or doing better inputs. So in this case, it would probably just be doing better inputs. So we go through like May's transactions. Okay, we list all the totals here. So we have, okay, here's all the groceries, the gas, here's all this stuff totaling up. Okay, we're doing the same for June, July, and then at the end of the process, we get this average. This file calculates it. And what I want you to do now is kind of look at like from a higher view, does this make sense? Like, does this feel right to you? Because a lot of times what happens, people do this and then they see the average and it's like, whoa, like where did, me spending this much money in this category come from? They get very surprised with certain things. A lot of times it is that dining out, food delivery, restaurants category. It gets them every time. Um, so that's kind of step one of just action. And I kind of blew through that, but again, this could be something that takes you some time. I want to be fully transparent with you, but at the end of the day, um, you have to kind of look at the trade-off, like the cost that not the cost, but like the time trade-off that you're doing. It's like, okay, well, I could spend, you know, 2 hours on this, or you probably think like I can spend 2 hours way better. I could be doing something way more fun, but that 2 hours is now a building block in your foundation to your personal finances that you will never have to do it again as long as you commit to yourself like, okay, I'm going to be budgeting now every month to sort of take my finances to the next level, wherever that may take you, right? Um, so it's not like you have to do a 3 month look back every month, right? Because you've already done like the look back and now you're going to be tracking it going forward. Um, I mean, really, if you want extra credit and bonus points from me, I would probably do like 6 months. If you're a crazy psycho, I'd probably do like 6 months because quite honestly, the more data that you have is just going to be way better. And also, what I'm finding a lot too with people doing the 3 month look back is it doesn't capture all of like people's unexpected expenses or even like I don't know, some quarterly or annual like renewal charges that pop up, and it just kind of surprises people. Like they do a 3 month look back, but none of their like bigger like annual recurring things came up. So then they have like, oh wow, I have $1,000 thing every August, right? Whatever it is. So it's just the more data is helpful, but I stuck with three because I think three seems reasonable that I would be able to convince the most amount of people to do three. Um, so that's that process. That is action. So let me know if you're watching this now or you're watching this later. Like, what action are you willing to take? What action are you going to try to take? How about this week? Like, let's try to set up if you're new to all this. If you're inconsistent with some of it, if you're watching this in the next few days, like it's almost September, let's get the stuff in for September. If you're watching this super later on, it's almost, insert month here, right? So start planning before that month happens. The next step here is alignment. So now that we have some data, what we want to do is we want to align our spending, our 3 month spending. Oops, hold on. Nope. To what I call the North Star goals. Okay. North Star goals are a list of things that matter to you the absolute most. So they could be life stuff, it could be financial stuff, it could be any sort of stuff that matters to you the most. And why this is so powerful, and it's actually so powerful that I need to draw like a star or something here. There we go. Wow, that's great. We have to have something to kind of look forward to look. We have to have something to strive for, I guess is what I'm saying. So if you feel like you're kind of, it's like Groundhog Day. You're repeating every single month, the same month. It's the same month. You go through the month. At the end of the month, you have no extra money. You go through the month. At the end of the month, you have no extra money. You go to a paycheck, and then after 1 week, you're like struggling that next week to get to the next paycheck, right? So, we have to have something that is big enough to change kind of our trajectory. So it could be the North Star goals could be like this overarching like theme of goals, or it's like your list of non-negotiables. So it could be either way. But how it works with the 3 month look back here is now we say, okay, now we have some data. So now how do we align this information that we have here with our North Star goals? So let's just say, for example, um, you have goals of, let's see, no, hold on. All right. So you have goals like, I don't know, you have fitness goals, you have money goals, you have family goals, right? Like some of these things might be non-negotiables for some people. So then you say, okay, like I have my list of 2 things, 5 things, 10 things, however many things you want to put on it. And then you make sure that these two are connected, right? Like we want to prioritize not only our money, but our time, our effort, our sacrifices into the things that we say matter the most. Because if we say it matters to us the most, then of course we should be putting our resources to it, right? And then what happens is, let's say this list is only 3 things. You'll notice that there's nothing else here, right? Which means that everything else, we're giving ourselves permission to kind of cut loose or trim down or whatever. And it also works the other way where let's say, fitness, you have some fitness goal that's your number one thing. And then you look at your 3-month look back. And it's like, oh, wow, I just told myself that fitness was the most important thing for me, but I'm only spending $60 a month on it. So you could be like, well, I need to actually I need to increase this. Like I need to spend more money on it. Like I'm telling myself it's the most important thing, and I'm only spending 60 bucks a month, and I go to the gym, I don't know, for an hour and a half total in the week. It's like, well, I need to do more money. I need to put in more time to this thing, right? So, and that's how we want to start thinking about this. And then specifically for money, you would also think about that as well. So what I don't want is someone to watch this and think I'm telling you to cut back on all your expenses, because budgeting is not about cutting. It's about being intentional with our money. Um it's about seeing the things that we are able to do. I think a lot of people think budgeting is restrictionary, and that's why they don't do it, because they think it's like, oh, it's just gonna be a burden on my life. Because there's a lot of people out there that say, um budgeting is like, yeah, cut, cut, cut. You got to be extreme about it. You got to do all the stuff, right? But I've just found that the people that have the success with budgeting and personal finances don't necessarily just go like hard the whole time, but it's like, okay, what is sustainable for me? Because this is really just about like sustainability. Um, I don't know what else I could draw here, but like, what else is sustainable? What kind of things are sustainable for the long run? I would much rather have someone, um, let's see, I would much rather have someone like find go through this process, align all their stuff, and then they find an extra $100 a month, and then do that for like a bunch of months in a row, right? I'm just gonna make this very, very long and obnoxious to kind of make my point here. I don't know how many this is. All right. Instead of like, um, someone that, sorry, hold on. Someone that has like a $500 win, and then like, wow, okay, yeah, another $200 win. But then it's like, well, negative 300, 0, you know what I mean? And they just kind of keep going like 100, okay, then like a negative 100, and they're just like all over the place because they're like slingshotting everything. It's just like a freaking seesaw out here, and they're just going hard at it, but they don't have like the process, and it's not sustainable, and it shows, right? And then like, okay, this is where the unexpected expense happens, and then you go into more debt, and you end up going backwards. I'd rather just have this person where we're just making slow, steady progress. And it doesn't have to be $100. It could be whatever amount for you, right? It could be $50, $500, right? But it's like, what level of like you finding money is the most sustainable for you? So I kind of hinted at it, but once that process is over, we create a new budget amount based on our linking our North Star goals to our 3-month look back data. And then we have a new, we basically show ourselves like a monthly savings. So what this is, so let's say, for example, the thing that I gave, dining out, food delivery, you're like, man, I'm spending $250 a month in here. I had no idea. We obviously need to cut that back. So I'll just start trimming it down to 150. Well, you've already saved sort of fake money here, $107, which is great. And I like to say fake money because you haven't really saved the money yet. It's more of a projection that you're trying to do. So just to be very clear on that, this is not this is not like real money at the moment. This is just like you projecting something. But then you look at it, you're like, well, if I'm having less meals out, then I need to have more meals in, right? So then your grocery would go up, and then it's like, okay, well now anything in red here means that our new budget amount is higher than our average actual, and that's okay. We can have red. Like, I don't want you to try to cut every category and think you have to do that. And then same thing with like our health and fitness example. It's like, wow, I'm only spending $60, so I need to spend more. So this is going to be red. But there might be like a couple areas where you can significantly reduce the amount of, or you can have a big variance in between the average and then your new budget amount. So in this example, whatever, I saved a fake amount of $142. And now you can sit there and after going through this process, you're like, okay, wow, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to try to lock that in to next month. Or for some reason, like if I don't know, you had, oh, that's a bad example. Hold on. You had $26 and you're like, ah, crap. Like I didn't do it. You can just kind of go through the process again. Maybe you need to like redefine your North Star goals. Maybe you need to switch things up a little bit or be a little more open to other things like that, like realigning more of your money kind of thing. But you can just keep doing this process over and over and over again until you like it. Because again, this is like, we're projecting here. This is fake. Sorry, I realized it was close to being cut off. This is fake, but it's could be real if we take actions on it. And that's where this column comes into play. What action will you take to make this happen, right? So that's really important too, because if you don't have a why behind it, it's never going to work. So the alignment, almost more importantly, is the why. Not all of it. Don't do that. Okay. All right. Good stuff. Hold on. Wait, I gotta write it now. Hold on. Why? Okay. There we go. That's the goal here. So then accelerate. This is the next step. Step 3 of our little 3-step plan here of how we're gonna find more money in our finances. Let me know if you guys are vibing with this. Whether you're watching this now or later on, does this kind of make sense? Do you like my AAA acronym? I've been playing around with some of the words, so let me know. I'd be happy to figure out a way to make it all B's or C's or something. So what we'd want to do next is, again, this is in this spreadsheet, but it's basically, I want you to think more about the logic of the process, not necessarily the exact tool that you need to do this. Because like I mentioned, this process is not in my software, Wealthway. I shouldn't say my software. I would say it's Dollar Discipline University's software. So it's all for everyone inside my community. So yeah, it's not necessarily the tool itself. I really want to kind of talk about like the structure, the framework of the process. You could do this with I don't care if you have something that works for you already, a tool, you just don't know maybe how to utilize it the best way. Try this whole process inside of that tool and see if it works for you. But I'm just going to keep going with this example here because it's just easier instead of like switching back and forth between different tools. So once we have our new budget amount, what this does in this tool is, now I have to make this smaller, is, I'm going to get rid of some of these actuals in here. I was playing around with some of the numbers. Just give me a moment. So what this does, like the budget carries forward from the 3-month look back. So the new budget amount that you put, we're going to just try it in the next month. So I'm going to change this to August and we're just going to try it. right? This is our budget for our variable expenses. Um, you'd also want to fill out your fixed expenses. I have columns here for financial goals. So think your like emergency fund, maybe a retirement thing, whatever. And then a specific column for debt, because I do think personally that debt is the biggest um, impact on people's personal finances. I think being in debt is like probably the least efficient thing we can do with our money. We all know that. That's why we're here. That's why we're trying to figure all this out, right? But basically, in a nutshell, how this file works and how a lot of tools work. Just to be quite frank with you, it's this process called, or this framework strategy called zero-based budgeting. So basically, it's every dollar that comes in, we want to have a home for it. So let's just say you make, I don't know, $1,500 a paycheck in a household. I'm just making this up. So um, as you can see, as I'm typing everything, other things are happening here. So I'll go through that. But again, this isn't really about like a tool tutorial. It's just kind of like an overall framework. Um, so let's say your household makes $6,000 a month. Now you know that you have $6,000 to sort of allocate, where every dollar needs to have its own home. So let's say like, um, yeah, I guess I can just kind of go through this quickly to show you an example. Um, I'm not really looking at the category, so don't be too upset if the cost seems weird or whatever. I'm just merely trying to show an example. So let's say you have this for your fixed expenses. You have a budget goal for savings of $200 a month. Maybe there's a retirement goal that you have of $200. And as you can see, this remaining budget here is going down every time I add something. So let's say you have a credit card that you budget for $300, and let's say that you have a student loan that you budget for $150, and you're like, okay, cool. So I have $152 left to budget, and I haven't spent any money yet, so I have $6,000 remaining. What we want to do to make this kind of a quote perfect budget is we actually want to shove this 152 somewhere. So that way we have $0 left to budget. And then from there, as the month goes on, we can maybe tweak and stuff like that. But we want to kind of have an idea to start the month, like, what's going to be our budget? If we know we're making $6,000, how are we allocating all of our stuff? So if you have financial goals like saving money or paying off debt, like you could budget the $152.66 into, did I get that right? Yes. Into like credit card, for example. Okay. And now we have $0 left to budget. And now what we do is we go through the month and we start paying stuff, right? So let's just assume that the month happened, and obviously your fixed expenses are the budget for those are your actuals. And let's just see, I'm going to make up some numbers here very quickly. For variable expenses, 250, I don't know, 125, great. We'll do $50. Dining out, let's say we had a whoopsie. Kids activity, $100. Shopping, $75. So then down here, you could see like, okay, our budget for variable expenses was $1,697, but we actually spent $1,800. So we were off by like over $100 there. And again, comma, that's fine. It's just, especially if you're the first time doing this, I think it could be overwhelming if you're like, hey, I'm going to try this thing, and then it doesn't work and you just quit. Like that's the last thing that I want. So again, this is just understanding the concepts and the frameworks. So let's say your emergency fund is super important to you, and you had to pay off the $300 because it was the minimum, and you had to do the $150 because it was the student loan. And then you have $249 left, right? And you're like, okay, could I put it towards my retirement? Could I put it towards credit card? And I think if you're thinking about it the right way throughout the whole month, I'm like, that would be amazing if you had this option where you're like, oh wow, I have money to put to something. So we could either do it this way in terms of setting up your finances, where it's like, maybe we wait to the end of the month, but I prefer course it's blue. Pay yourself first. So now to think about this differently, instead of like thinking about all of these categories as the month goes on, right? Our variable expenses. How do we make sure that these financial goals are met first, right? So let's say, yeah, we make the savings, we do the retirement thing, we pay like extra more than the minimums on this credit card. And then, yeah, so we met all of our budgets and now it's like, oh, okay, our leftover money is 103. So let's pretend we didn't do these yet. And now when we go through it, it's like, okay, well, now I only have, if I know I'm making $6,000 a month, I know what my fixed expenses are. So immediately just subtract that. So that's $3,300. So $2,700 left. And then, yeah, I'm going to have some weird decimals here, but this total is about $1,000. So now we have, yeah, the $1,700 left. And now you think about like, okay, now I have $1,700 for this section. How am I going to make that work? And you just figure out a way to make it work because it's that you almost want to pretend like your fixed expenses are gone and your financial goal money is gone. You want to just pretend that that's gone. Then obviously you'll need things on here like you'll need groceries. We still have to eat, right? We still have human bodies, utilities. Like most people like to have some sort of electricity, right? That's nice, and other things like that, gas. Like a lot of people need to gas or transportation. A lot of people need to commute to a job or something, right? So like a lot of things we need. So then we just start having to really like focus in on like, okay, how do we make this work? And then you just kind of figure it out because it's like, well, I only have $1,700 this month to spend on all this. So that's how we accelerate because we're paying ourselves first. We're using money that we believe is coming in, paying off our future first, and then obviously like we know what these are, these fixed expenses, and then we have to just figure these out. Does that kind of make sense? Everyone feeling that? So 3 steps here: action, alignment, accelerate. So yeah, that's the checklist for the video, guys. Make sure to get in on the YouTube community over here. The last 2 videos, I literally just answered someone's question from the day before. I just made a whole video about it. So if you have a question and it's a good question about these topics, I'll probably just make a video about it, to be perfectly honest with you. Come check out Dollar Discipline University. Completely free to join. There's $0 and you get a free strategy call when you join, a 30-minute call with me, with moi. So if you, I don't know, if you're enjoying these live streams, I'm doing them every day. I'm trying to keep myself accountable. So maybe one of the comments or questions that you put on YouTube is like, how are you keeping yourself accountable in your personal finances? I'm hoping that not only are you learning or thinking about your finances slightly different based on these videos that I'm doing, but also like, how maybe like looking at me and seeing like, he wants to grow this community. So he's doing these daily inputs. So what can I do with daily inputs, weekly inputs, monthly inputs to help reach, my finances, my financial goals faster. So I appreciate you guys. DDU, get in there, and I'll see you tomorrow night. Have a good one.